Welcome back to the channel. Today I've got my top 16 list that I made at the North American Intercontinental Championships this weekend. I put Espion Garbador. I played it with a few of my co-team, Jimmy McClure, Kevin Abernathy, Tony Jimenez, and Daniel Lozada. We all played the same 60 except for Tony. Tony decided to take out the second stretcher for an Olympia, which from what I understand, it helped him throughout the day. So he ended up making top 32 with the list. Jimmy McClure made top 64 with the list, and Kevin and Daniel Lozada both bubbled out of day two, 36th in Kevin's flight and 40th in Daniel's flight. So overall, the list did pretty well this weekend. And it's a pretty standard list overall. Now, this is a little bit different from my Conquest list with Jimmy McClure. The big main changes were the fact that we played Parallel City in that list, and I decided to take it out because I felt like it didn't do enough in the matchups that you needed it, like Greninja, Volcanion, grass type decks, to warrant the space for it. What we decided instead is we decided to put in the 4th Floatstone and the 4th Sycamore. I really like this throughout the day because being able to hit 4 floats with Garbotoxin is just really strong. And then the 4 Sycamore, 4 N, 3 VS Seeker made it so I basically never got caught in an N hand. It was only like maybe once or twice where I had to draw and like not be able to play a supporter from an N. But overall, it just made things it just made the deck very consistent overall. And it was a good list going in. We met up the night before, made those changes. We were deciding on Flareon too. We decided last minute to put it back in. We felt like Metagross was going to be pretty popular. It was also pretty good against Decidueye. Played against a couple of Decidueyes day 1 or day 2, and that helped me out. So we're going to go straight into matchups here. Day 1 of the Intercontinental, I played against Umbreon Zoroark round 1. And overall, it was just kind of an underwhelming start from him. There was a point where I ended up donking one of the games because all he had was double Zoroark in play. Killed the first one off a divide, and then he killed my Espeon, then I was able to Tapu Lele it for game. But overall, it was a pretty uneventful 2-0. Round 2, I played against my friend Serena Radu, playing Darkrai. And I got 0-2'd on this one. This was one of the first loss of the day. I didn't play the matchup very correctly. We kind of figured out how to play against Darkrai later on in the day, basically just dividing the Darkrai's early games, so that way they're easier to deal with. If they hit like 5 or 6 items in the discard after they get hit with a choice bed, you can one-shot them with Trash Launch. So it's one of those things that like playing the matchup correctly really helps. I also didn't really draw the best when it came to that, and I whiffed pieces that I needed. Hit like the DCE for Espeon, hitting the energy with Garbodor, that kind of thing. So started the day 1-1. It wasn't too bad. Round 3, I played against Espeon Garb Mirror. This person, it completely dead drew, whiffed energy pretty much 60% of the time. It was a really bad game overall, just because she just didn't get really anything going those games. Round 4, I played against Eric Gunnarsson from Sweden playing Zoroark. And these games were a little bit closer than my first round playing Zoroark. I still did 2-0 him, but it was just one of those things where I had a better start than he did. He didn't have a bad start. Mine was just better. And he kept like with like DCE once or twice playing, and it just made it. I just kept hitting everything I needed. So I feel like Zoroark, I was 8-0 against Zoroark throughout the day, so I felt like it wasn't too bad of a matchup, but it's just one of those things where you have to hit everything correctly. And then round 5, I played against Christopher Szymanski playing Darkrai, and I feel like I approached this matchup a little bit better than I did against Serena. But the big thing with this one was game 3, I ended up prizing my second Lysander. If I didn't prize it, I could have been able to Lysander as only Darkrai, kill it, and then basically just make it so he had to like set up another Darkrai, just try to bully it. But it was one of those things where I discarded one early game, and I should have checked when I checked for it to see if it was in there. Maybe if I would have known that, I wouldn't have discarded it, that kind of thing. So it's one of those things where maybe paying a little bit better attention to my deck would have been the way to go at that. But either way, starting the day, it was 3-2 on the day after that, and I ended up winning out to go to 7-2. Starting off with round 6, I played against a Metagross, and basically the Garbotoxin Flareon combo was just way too strong both games. I would hit the Garbotoxin, he would hit the Field Blower, hit me for 150, then I'd hit the Flareon and just one-shot his Metagross. It was just really strong overall. It was one of those things where this is why we talked about playing the Flareon or not. Basically, we were saying that either take Metagross as an auto loss and don't play the Flareon, or play the Flareon and just win the matchup. And we just felt like it was better to win that matchup. And ultimately, it was a good thing that I did play the Flareon, because without it, I don't think I would have day 2'd. So playing into that was good. Round 7, I played against another Espeon Garbmir, a gentleman from Argentina. And this one was way more back and forth than round 3 was. He actually did hit pieces. He played double teammates. He was able to teammates for the Garb Wars. But basically, ultimately, what this came down to is the fact that I played 2 Stretcher and he played 1. And he prized his second one, or he prized his Stretcher game 1 or game 2. Double Stretcher in mirror match is just really, really strong because, like I said, you'll always hit the Garbodor once they have enough items to discard. And I felt like with the Espeon War, it was just one of those things where I felt like I had better item management than he did playing the matchup. So is what like that also ultimately comes to draws. So being able to hit the things I needed without using items was just really good. But round 8, I played against Greninja, and I was pretty scared going into this matchup because I was testing this matchup with Brandon Jones, one of my friends from Utah, and he was destroying me because what he would do is he would Giant Shuriken the Trash Launch Garbs, and it made it so I didn't really have any main attackers in the matchup. This person, he played a very item heavy focused list. He played like Trainer's Mail. He played a lot of like Dive Ball, Ultra Ball, stuff like that, Talonflame, and it just got to the point where like by the time he got a Greninja breakout, he already had 7 items in discard. So I got to the point where I could just start one-shotting Greninjas basics, and then once he like drops the choice band on the Espeon, that's when I was able to field blow or kill his breaks. And it was just really overall like I was scared of the matchup going in, but I ended up 2-0ing it just because I just felt like the items weren't really being respected from my opponent. But it's one of those things that like Trash Launch is just, it's hard to play in. You kind of have to play into it sometimes because you may have a slow start. You may need items in order to go through. So it could be one of those situations too. But my winning in, I played against Zoroark Zygrade. And this matchup, there was a lot of whiffing involved. There was a lot of whiffing of DCE. There was a lot of whiffing of the Zoroark. I didn't see a single break throughout game 2. Or any of the games really. Or maybe 1. Yeah, it was 1. Or game 1 I saw breaks, but game 2 I didn't. And I feel like break are ultimately the matchup. That's how the matchup loses. You lose the matchup is through breaks. But I didn't see very many going into this matchup, so I 2-0'd it pretty handily. It kind of sucks because he was 6-0. Started the day 6-0, lost his 7th, tied his 8th, and then got paired down to me. Tried to take the ID, but I couldn't, and I ended up beating him 2-0. Going into 7-2, I ended the day 7-2, going into 19th seed. Jimmy McClure was 20th seed going in. And going into day 2, I played against, round 10, I played against a Espeon Garbmir, and it played a little bit more Tex. It played like a Tauros and a Rangaroo and Parallel Cities, Drampa. It was a very teched out mirror match. And this matchup was basically pretty back and forth. I think I ended up winning the coin flip on this to go first. And there was some miscommunication with some D20s I was using as item counters. I tracked the pieces to try to see, because it showed that I had 2 items in discard on my tracker, but I only had 1 in my discard. I looked and see if there was any. I looked to see if there's any way there could have been 2, and I just didn't piece it out. So if you play this deck, or if you play any Garbodor variant moving forward, the best thing to do to keep track is just use a notepad. This way you can edit it if you need to. You can erase, like, it's not public, so it's not deceptive if it's wrong. Because I was trying to keep track of a lot of items throughout the day, and there was some points where I missed some. Even on stream when I played against Jimmy Pendarvis day 2, I ended up missing a couple items. But it was just one of those things where, like, and the D20s were easily like manipulatable because they had so many sides. You could just tap the table and it would move. So it was one of those things where, like, moving forward, I would just use a notepad to track this, just so that way the situation doesn't happen to you like it did to me. But round 11, I played against Stefan from France, playing Decidueye. And these 3 games were easily the best games I played all weekend. They were very, very close, back and forth. Ultimately, he ended up winning game 3 on time because I retreated on top of Lele with 90 damage on it, and basically he had to hit his 4th Decidueye or the Lysander for game, and he ended up like playing his hand out, and he ended up hitting the 4th Decidueye for game. And it was just one of those things. Like, it was just a really good game overall. I tried to do everything I could. I Tapu cured to try to heal the damage, to try to give myself game, that kind of thing. And it was just really close overall. And very good player, very, very, very respected in France and across the world. But round 12, I played against Vikavolt. And game 1 was really, really strong. I just got like turn 2 Garbotoxin. He couldn't really do anything. He flipped 2 tails on Confusion. It was just really bad overall. And then game 2, he just got super set up. I did like an early scoop, probably about 3 minutes in. And game 3 was a little bit closer. Garbotoxin was still really strong. I basically just had it out throughout the entire game, and he whiffed field blowers from time to time. And Confusion was really Confusion was really like annoying too. But it ended up getting to the point where he played a lot of items to try to set up and try to hit the field blower and that kind of thing. So it just made it so Trashalanche was able to one-shot Booloo's at one point, and I was able to just take the prizes off of Booloo's. I killed 2 Booloo's with Espeon, and then the last one was with a Trashalanche. So it just made it really easy overall with the items. Round 13, I played against Jimmy Jimmy Pendarvis on stream. There's a lot of Jimmys. I played him on stream. If you guys watched that, it was not a good game at all. Game 1, I dead drew completely. Game 2, I whiffed pieces overall. Like, I just couldn't hit the pieces that I needed to. And I made a play in the very beginning, like turn 2, where I Sycamored with 3 ends in hand and a VS Seeker. And the only real explanation I have for that was the fact that he had 3 cards in hand, and I felt like giving him more cards was going to hurt me more than discarding the ends, which ultimately I was wrong because I tried to Lele later for an end, and I found out that my 4th one was prized. So it was one of those things where I definitely played that matchup incorrectly on stream, or at least that particular play was wrong. I felt like either way, even if I would have ended, I probably wouldn't have hit the pieces anyway, so I don't know if the misplay really quote-unquote matters, but it is something that I feel like I should probably be addressed regardless. Round 14, I played against Decidueye Ninetales, and these were close games as well. Like game 1, I just had the Garbotoxin Flareon combo. It was just really strong. Game 2, he just got super set up. And game 3, it ultimately came down. It came down to the wire. I had like 4 cards in hand with an Ultra Ball. My 3 cards left in deck with a Garbotoxin via Seeker Energy. And I played the Ultra Ball, grabbed the Garbotoxin on a Choice Banded Trubbish, and basically had a float in hand. And basically, if he Lysanders out the Garbotoxin, I lose. But he ends me instead to 2, and I draw the last 3 cards in my deck for game. So it was just a really, really close game overall. Definitely, like Decidueye overall is a pretty close matchup. Even with the Flareon, even with Garbotoxin, it's still just really, really close. Especially if they play like the Espeon version with like the D-Evolves and the Coco and all the techie stuff. That makes the matchup a little bit closer. My last round, I played against Zorak Drampa. I played against Danielle Tavia, round 15. And this matchup was very, very one-sided. He starts Lone Drampa game 1 and draws it, attaches a Dark and passes. And I hit the Confusion off the Espeon. He flips Tails on the Big Wheel, and I'm able to Choice Band DC for the knockout. And then game 2, it was back and forth. We traded with Zorks, trading with Espeons, and I end up just drawing the pieces I need. And he played a lot of items to get the trades going, and I was able to just Trashalanche through the game. Ended up hitting. There was one point where he ended me to 3, or ended me to 2. I drew the stretcher off of the end, and I topped the energy. So hitting that off the Garbo response was really strong. And then he ends me to 1, and I had a Sycamore. I got the Sycamore off of the end, and I topped the DC because he Lysander did Eevee the turn after. So it was one of those things where I just basically drew everything I needed, and it was just really, really strong overall. I ended the day 11-4, 12th place. I knew After my last round, I pretty much knew that I wasn't going to be able to make top 8. After pretty much losing to Jimmy Pendarvis on stream, I think that's when it ultimately kicked me out. But 12th place at a big tournament like this is still really strong. It's a really strong finish with a really consistent list. Basically, it honestly could have happened to anyone just because Trash Legends is just way too good in this format. Espeon's just really good. I mean, I played the deck pretty well overall. There was definitely some glaring misplays. I know round 6, when I played against Metagross, I Lysandered out a Metang thinking I could kill it with thinking I had Flare out in play, but I didn't. So I just like smacked it in the mouth for 40 and just made it look really stupid. And then obviously the Jimmy Pendarvis Sycamore 3 ends away definitely hurt me as well. But overall, it was a really good showing. Very, very proud, very, very happy. I have to thank a lot of people for this. My boys, Jimmy McClure, Kevin Abernathy, Tony Jimenez, Daniel Azada, and John Turner. John Turner ended up making top 64 with Zorak. He did not play this list, but he did help out with the list, so I have to give him credit as well. He was definitely part of that group as well. And then Jerry Jensen also played the list too. Didn't really test it, didn't really show very well, but that's okay. He ended up having a lot of fun with it regardless. So, well, this is my return report for this event. Very, very long days, very long weekend overall, but pretty successful, I have to say. I will be at the Anaheim Open. I did not get my invite to Worlds from this. In fact, if I would have beaten Pendarvis, I might have gotten my invite. It also just kind of depends on what else I ran into, that kind of thing. But if I would have made top 8, I would have gotten my invite. But it's Pokemon, it happens. Top 16 is still something not to be scoffing at all. Very proud, very, very excited about it. And I'll be at the Anaheim Open in a month or two. I think it's like a month and a half actually in August when Worlds is. So I'll be there if you guys want to hit me up, say what's up, say hello, that kind of thing. I met some of you guys in Indy, and it was really, really cool seeing just people like, hey, I like your channel, that kind of thing. It was really cool seeing that. So definitely hit me up at Worlds. I'll be there all weekend, and I'll be doing some stuff. Like I'll be obviously playing the Anaheim Open and probably do some other things as well there. But this is gonna be my tournament report for the international tournament. If you guys like this, again, hit me up with a subscribe, hit me up with a like. It shows that you guys like my content, which is always good for me to know. If you like my other, if you want to kind of follow me around, Twitter at Crabbernathi914 is when I usually post a lot of updates. I have a Facebook page, Chubby Chalupa TCG. I'm kind of getting set up, and then obviously my Twitch is when I stream at Chubby Chalupa TCG. I'll be streaming a little bit more as well due to preparation for the Anaheim Open, especially when the new set comes out, when Burning Shadows comes out. For now, I'll probably do a lot of the top 8 decks that did well at this Intercontinental Championship. Until the new set comes out, that's when I'll really start breaking out some interesting stuff and go from there. But if you're at this point in the video, again, thank you so much for watching. It helps me out a lot. I absolutely appreciate it. Hope to see you guys at Worlds. Hope to see you guys in future events. And I hope that this video gave you some insight of how I did at the Intercontinental Championship. So thank you so much.